Yay.
Oh, I've already started recording because I accidentally pressed the damn button.
Oh, well.
Oh.
So Bloodshot. I think you laughed like the majority of the way fucking through it.
That final act was bad and good. We should do introductions because, like, this is probably going to be up on my channel, so...
Yes.
we're just going to have Bloodshot. This is Danna from Rogue May Cosplay. See her on Instagram, Facebook.
Yes, that's it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. I'm not cool enough to have like Twitter or anything.
Oh no, keep on Twitter. It's full of Nazis and
yeah, well that's why I deleted
cats.
it in the first place, is because of all the political shit that gets posted. I'm like, no.
Cat Twitter's pretty much the only good thing on there.
That's all I'm gonna like if I do get a Twitter. So.
Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna vary. I enjoyed myself watching this. This is probably the right amount of trash for me.
Like, I don't regret watching it. That's the thing.
No.
Like, it's worth watching it at least once, just so you can say you've seen it almost.
Yeah. I mean, it's my kind of niche. It's like it's the superhero movie. It's the bad superhero movie. It's Vin Diesel attempting to act.
And the thing is, just watching this makes me want to read the comics, because I guarantee you the comics are probably fucking awesome.
So, here's my experience with the comics. I've never read one. But it used
Here's my experience, nothing.
No, well, here's... for those... Oh, yeah, it's currently raining. It was sunny when we left, now it's pissing down south. I don't know if they still do it, but back in the day when I was collecting comics, every month when I go to Quality Comics, you'd get this basically tome that was about this big and this thick. It's basically a giant comic book called Previews, which was full of like the upcoming previews for the next month. So you could order them in, essentially. Yeah. And Bloodshot was one of those things that always had one of these like 4-page picture screens, and it was just this black and white comic, and it's just this white dude with a red circle on his chest.
It's just very basic
art. I mean, the art was good, but know nothing about the storytelling. Never shown preview panels or anything, so it was just a thing that was always there. Yeah. He always reminded me of Mr. Sinister from the X-Men comics, just that like jet black, I can't remember if he had hair or not, but basically the white skin, and knew nothing about it. But when this came up, I was just like, I have to watch this. Yeah. It's Vin Diesel, and I've only...
A is Vin Diesel, and B is based on a comic book. You have to give it a watch.
I don't have much... I've never watched a Fast and the Furious movie. I can't remember what I've seen him in, but the only movie I know I've seen for definite that starred Vin Diesel was The Pacifier.
Yes! Oh, that is Vin Diesel's best movie.
That is so terrible.
It is a great fucking movie.
But so much fun. The scene at the end of The Pacifier when he has to do the court. No, that is so much cringe.
No, I love it.
It's so cringy. And
that came out when I was a kid, though.
Oh, God, I watched it as an adult. I have no shame. So I've not seen like the things that Vin Diesel is famous for.
But Vin Diesel doesn't age. It just seems his head's gotten bigger. Like, he hasn't aged. It's just...
He is a very lumpy man.
Yeah.
As toned and muscly as he is, he's a very lumpy man.
Like, you could draw him as shapes.
Yes. And let's be nice. He was trying to act in this.
Yeah.
You just can't.
The thing is, he gets hired because he's walking muscles, like.
Yes.
And all the middle-aged women love him.
I see why people like watching his movies now, but it's always the fact of like...
It's for people who like don't want a storyline, they just want explosions and
that's
like...
Yeah. That's why I say this is great trash. It's not... I can get why the Metacritic score is like 5 out of 10.
But the thing is
an average
like,
film.
It's just so many movies in one. What we were saying, it's...
Terminator,
RoboCop,
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, even got some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. vibes in there, sort of thing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like,
it it almost dabbles with being intellectual at one point when you're going through the.
Well, that's the thing with all the plot twists.
Let's face it, no one's probably going to watch this, so we could spoil it away.
Oh, yeah,
It's only just come out, but this movie is tanked.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing, you did definitely get vibes of, like, a lot of things. Like, I knew they were going to X-Men Origins the wife. Like,
yeah.
Like, that was going to be a no-shit sort of thing.
Yeah. I knew that that Vin Diesel's character... That's the other problem with this thing. It's like, he's rarely ever referred to by his name. So you're never getting a good introduction to him.
No, like, they mention it here and there, but...
Yeah. His name is Garrison, but we're probably just going to call him Bloodshot, because even though the movie doesn't call him that, the credits do.
Yeah. On the credits, it doesn't say, it just says Bloodshot.
Bloodshot, Vin Diesel. It doesn't say
like,
Garrison.
It's like, who's this Bloodshot you speak of? But yeah, that makes me think there's going to be
they sequel baited the hell out of this.
Yeah.
But it's based on a comic book franchise, so it makes some
they've got to make
sense.
Sony's got to make some money, alright?
God damn it, Sony.
No, they had the issues with Spider-Man. They're like, no, fuck you, we're going to try and make some more money.
Well, Sony still makes a lot of money off the Spider-Man property. It's just they're not making all the money, and Marvel wants to make all the money.
Yeah, so maybe that's what they're trying to do.
Let's face it, Marvel kind of made the last two Spider-Man movies work, because we know what Sony did with those amazing movies. That crap. Anyway, so Bloodshot, it's essentially the story of this guy who he's an ex-soldier who we presume gets killed at some point, and he's becomes part of this experimental program where his blood has been replaced with nanites, so he just regenerates. And he's on a quest to avenge him and his wife's death. And then we get to find it's roughly about 1/3 of the way through the movie. It's not. Yeah. It's very early on that you actually find out that the revenge plot has been manufactured. And
they change it every time to be a different person that the guy who made him wants to kill. It's not like it's terrorists that they're making him go after. It's
Guy Pearce plays the exact same role he played in Iron Man 3. Basically tech bro who wants to kill everyone.
Well, that's the thing, everyone in that movie is playing this, like the main chick was from Charlie's Angels, and she's pretty much playing the character she played in Charlie's Angels.
Well, too. I haven't seen Charlie's Angels like most people.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but like from the trailers it seems like she's playing the same thing. Vin Diesel's pretty much playing the same thing as he has for every movie he's ever been in ever. Badass.
Vin Diesel is playing Vin Diesel.
Yeah. So it's like they just took plot from different movies and put it in a blender. But yeah, so he finds out what they're doing, and then he tries to stop them from doing that. Then they get like another tech guy who teams up with them.
Oh, the best character in the movie, Wiggins.
Wiggins is adorable. I love him. Only reason to watch that movie is Wiggins.
So Wiggins is essentially the master code hacker trope who he's like the last in line of the people that need to be bumped off.
Yeah.
And he hijacks Bloodshot, Vin Diesel. We're just calling him Vin Diesel. He hijacks Vin Diesel by using an electromagnetic pulse to basically reset him and give him the download.
Because he was programmed by one tech dude.
Yeah, the tech dude who stole this guy's code.
Yeah, and then
he's open source code on proprietary software. I love that so much.
Yeah, and then because the main girl, KT, she's sort of like iffy about being with them, but she's got like this breathing thing, so if she steps out, they'll just robot it and she can't breathe anymore. Yeah,
the henchmen are essentially part robot, part they're more machine than man, twisted and evil.
It's more machine than man now.
They're basically ex-soldiers who have had something go wrong, and they
It's Winter Soldier.
Yes,
it is.
Yeah.
It's like
so she has she basically has replacement lungs.
Yeah.
One has replacement eyes, and the other one has replacement legs, and
the main dude's got a replacement arm from when he had cancer as a kid.
Well, one of the stories he tells is that he has cancer as a kid, but that could just be
because
any sorts of lies.
Well, that's the thing. Every time he wakes up, they do the same storyline.
Oh, yeah. But they're like going, "Oh, I've got to do that again. Oh, I've got to change it up." Oh.
Yeah.
That was, I think, was a nice feature. Basically, every single time they reset him, they have to change things around to enable him to retain more. I think that might go back to this idea that I'm not sure how it is in real life, but in pop culture, when someone has their memory erased and it keeps being rewritten, the memory, it starts to, fragment, or, it's
and then
like,
it pops up randomly and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's that thing where it's like, oh my God, I've been brainwashed. So I'm guessing that's the conceit, that if they change it around enough, the brain retains it as a fresh information, and that's why it's not like, I've done this 15 times before, until of course he realizes he's done it 15 times before.
Yeah.
Or at least in this movie, it seems to be about...
It was about 5 or 6. Yeah.
Six-ish, something like that.
I think it was good with how they did it with, like, revealing to the audience that that's what they were doing. Like it wasn't too fast and it wasn't too slow. Like, they did a really good job revealing, like, the programming and what they were actually doing. Because, like, at the start, like, you obviously get bad guy vibes. Because, like, who's going to be the bad guy? The organization that's brought him back to life. But at the same time, you're like, oh, but how is, like, you're not already knowing how they're going to do it.
It's a really good twist. It's almost like that thing where they try to be smart in this dumb action film.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not the best, but it's not the worst.
It's like
that summary of the movie.
That middle act is like them trying to inject a little bit of intellectual storytelling into it, and the idea of like a looping action.
It's just Winter Soldier, and I can't get over that. Like even thinking back on it now, like it's all Winter Soldier.
It's very comic books.
It's one thing I'll say is it's not original.
No.
You can relate it to so many other things. Like have you seen Black Mirror?
No, I've caught a couple of episodes, but it never really...
There's, like, an episode of Black Mirror where they pretty much do the same thing. Spoiler for people who are going to see it, but, like, it's pretty much what they do. This girl committed this awful crime with her boyfriend. Like, they set this little girl on fire or something like that. And so they create an amusement park just for her to think that the world's been taken over by the zombie apocalypse.
Oh, wow.
And so, like, there's all these people, like, recording it, and you can come to the amusement park, and then at the end, like, she flips around and gets revealed that it's all live action, and so at the end of it, every single time, they drug her, put her back in a chair, electric shock her, so she has to live through that every single day. Like, that's her punishment.
That's like Truman Show taken to a really fucked up level.
Yeah. And so that's what it was giving me vibes of, was just like this organization sort of resetting it to make them do what they want.
Yeah, this movie was very derivative. That's the best word I would use to describe it, is derivative.
Yeah.
If you've seen, Terminator, Winter Soldier, RoboCop, any kind of movie where they've erased the protagonist's memory.
X-Men Origins, like...
Yeah.
Like, the main dude gave me such Striker vibes. I'm like, this... Or even the nanobots, like, they get to a part where they take him out of him, and it goes down a tube, and it looks like the adamantium from X2.
It's just... Well, that's the thing, they remove all the... So basically, when they're resetting his brain,
they have to take them out and like wash them, pretty much.
But they don't even explain. They're just like, we got to remove the nanobots, and then they inject him with a new batch of nanobots. But it's assumed that new batch of nanobots has that memory in them, but they never really explain it.
Must be like a program that they sort of just automatically put into the nanobots.
But they have access to his brain. They literally say they got wireless nanobots that can...
Yeah, that's the one part that confused me, is that like he's just able to go through the internet to find it, because that's
I think that was probably a fake out for the audience, like, because it seems like he doesn't seem to be able to do that later on.
But the thing is that if it was the organization that was making him do that, like, they're able to just like Google something and like put it into his brain, or like go through.
I think that's the conceit later on when they're going, we tracked this guy down. He's here. We know. I think it's one of those things where it seemed a little bit too weird that Bloodshot was just subconsciously hacking the internet with his brain. It was a little bit...
It was like they were sending him the information and convincing him that he was doing all that.
He was autonomous to a degree, but he was being fed the information to get him where they want. They basically painted a target on someone's back and pointed Vin Diesel at him and went, go and just blow everything up.
It was like playing a video game.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they were doing.
Yeah. So the one moment that destroyed my sense of disbelief is Vin Diesel crash. I'm never going to stop calling him Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel crashes a truck in a tunnel, and it's full of flour.
You were like shooketh for this one.
I was so... Okay, so what happens with flour is that when it's in a bag, it's fairly stable. I mean, it's just a normal, harmless thing. When you aerate flour, it starts to become combustible.
We should try this.
It's essentially the particles when they're spread out, and once it reaches an appropriate mix.
So like if you explode the bag, sort of thing.
Yeah, it won't do it when it's concentrated, but when it's more aerated, it reaches a point. There's a great video Mythbusters did where it's about coffee creamer, and essentially they use an explosion to shoot out coffee creamer out of a tub, and once it reaches a certain point, it just literally just. The explosion doesn't set ignite when it's concentrated, but it reaches it out.
Pretty much,
but there's still
this shitty action movie lost an opportunity to have even more explosives.
That's what I was hoping, because as soon as they pull out the flares and start igniting things, he literally throws a bag of flour and then gets a guy and puts a grenade on him. And
I just wonder why they use flour. Like, was that for like when he was walking slow motion to look cooler? I think
it was just that thing where they wanted like the particle effects and all this to be on there, and it doesn't do anything. But it kind of made me rage a little bit, because I'm going, that would just explode everything, which I thought would be cool.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's what action movies love, is unnecessary explosions.
Yes.
Like the dude, and he just goes, pew, and then the car explodes.
It would have been a good explosion, like literally the end of the tunnel, bang, and these people are all inside cars anyway. So they could have actually, it could be one of those things that could have been used to like disable the car or disable the people outside the car, so we could then get to the guys.
All the other bullshit scenes.
And like, you could have had a. No. So it was just that thing. It was so disappointing, because I'm like, God, that would explode.
Science. There was so much there. We just like, fuck. But that's a summary of the Fast and Furious movies. Like, you watch any scene from them, and you're just watching it, and you're like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Like, okay, so I watched the one, like the last one Paul Walker was in, and there's literally a scene where The Rock, I'm pretty sure it's The Rock, he's in the hospital and he's got a cast on his arm, like he broke it, and he just like goes like that.
Oh,
and the
breaks
off. Like, I can't remember a lot of it, but that's like the one thing where you just like, no, that is Fast and Furious science right there.
That's a movie trope where it's like, I'm just going to break out.
Yeah, he was just I'm so strong.
No,
I'd like to test that one day though, like, because they make casts pretty fucking durable.
Well, casts, it's also not, because it's not just, plaster, it's plaster infused with bandage, which gives it tensile strength, which is the point.
That is how strong The Rock is.
That's just how strong The Rock is.
It's just...
Yeah, if you just slap and even me, feeble me, would just, if you coat my arm with plaster, let it set, I could probably break out of it, because it's just plaster.
Yeah, if it was, it's pretty much paper mache.
Yeah.
Right.
The plaster itself, unless you have it in a brick, has really no tensile strength when it's thinned out. That's why you have bandages.
Yeah. But that's just how Vin Diesel action movies go. It's almost like Vin Diesel has a say in every movie he's in. He's like, no, more explosions. Okay, cool. This chick, she has to have her tits out at some point. Okay, cool. Yep. Yeah, no, it did not pass the Bechdel test. we're like 15 minutes in. I'm like, does not pass the Bechdel test.
His wife is in. Well, his wife is in it for like about five minutes of just lingering shots. And she doesn't say a word.
The thing is, it might just pass it because she quickly has a conversation with her daughter, and they both have names. So
did she though?
She said her name like once or twice. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I can't remember any of their names. Like,
God.
So like, might scrape by.
The two women conversation was, please go inside and go find your brother and your daddy.
Yeah.
Heavily implying that this is all about Vin Diesel not being the daughter.
Yeah, not being the dad. Yeah.
Not being the dad or the husband. So even that conversation's about Vin Diesel.
Well, even like and that's what pissed me off, like the KT, like the girl with the respiratory stuff. She is just a typical like action movie trope where it's like, all right, it's like Black Widow was in Iron Man.
Yeah.
They're like, we need a badass girl in this, but she's gonna be super sexy, and we need a scene with her in her underwear. Like,
I must admit,
the two of age women that are in that movie have a scene where you can see a lot of cleavage and their butt.
Yeah. Arm tattoo on point though.
Yeah, it reminded me of Angel from X-Men First Class. You know how she has the wings on her back?
That's not Angel, but that's someone else who I can't think of the character's name.
They call her Angel in it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not Angel, because
Yes.
Angel's a different character altogether.
Yeah, I don't know. Those movies confuse the fuck out sometimes.
I've only seen First Class once. It's alright.
But yeah, no, that's the vibe it gave me, because I think the tattoos are supposed to be like her nano stuff or whatever. Like it gives her durability.
I think it's just one of those things they just thought we just put some tattoos on them too, because it's like this kind of honeycomb cell computer tech, but it doesn't really.
Like I'm trying to watch if it moved or not. Like
no, I think that's just. I think that was just how her it was just placed on her arm. Yeah, and they give it like the love interest vibes, but then and it's the classic. Oh, I've got a conscience because the good guy's here and he makes me feel all wobbly.
Yeah, and like the one scene they had of her training, because they had no scenes of her like punching a bag or like anything. The one scene they had was her doing graceful, lovely
martial arts
under the water. So you just see shots of her like all like nice and dramatic and gorgeous
and Vin Diesel's just there leering.
Yeah, and every single item of clothing she wore was yoga pants and a crop top.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He doesn't notice that she jumps into the pool he's basically working out after he's woken up.
Yeah.
And figuring out he's got super strength, and then he just sits down and she disappears. And we pull out. This is not a close-up because it looks like the rooms are interconnected. So it's like a window.
It looks like a window.
It looks like a window and connecting to a pool. And then you pull out, and the pool is literally like the wind said.
It's like
the wall stops there, and it's like the glass is there.
And the
pool's above. Also, how the hell do you not hear her jump into the pool?
But also, I don't think that's very practical for a pool.
And secondly, how the hell did she not notice he was working out?
She probably did. Let's be real.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's a seductress in an action film. Of course she.
Yeah. No, she knows everything, but yet she's the dumbest character, of course.
At least in one respect, she doesn't need to get rescued.
Yeah, that was the good part. But I think that's the same with every action girl ever. Is that they are independent and strong and stuff, but they have this flowing hair, and there could never be a scene where she full on there was not a single scene where she fought anybody.
Yeah,
there wasn't a scene where she.
No, there was one scene, but you were out of that thing. So basically, you went to the toilet, and this is a scene where
she gets the tech dude.
The two guys who are tracking down Bloodshot, they take him out and re-inject him with the tracking device because that's been all disabled. So he's not been able to be tracked for like a good 10 minutes in the film. So she is sent by Guy Pearce to to capture Wiggins, and and in the scene she takes out all of his guards, and she drugs Wiggins, and then she comes back into the building. And then it's revealed that she said, "Oh, he escaped somehow," and that's why they have to reactivate Vin Diesel. But that time, Wiggins is in the base because they've obviously teamed up. He's in the basement, and they create the diversion, so they can rescue Bloodshot and reactivate him. And that end scene reminds me so much of the game Saints Row 3, where you essentially blow up a skyscraper by demolishing like something from the top and it just going all the way down, and it's like all the other. It just reminded me of a video game.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was like easily that could have been the trailer for a video game sort of thing. Like,
oh, and the CGI was terrible.
Especially there was a scene where they were in the building and it was the crane. No, they were going down an escalator.
They're going down the escalator,
and they're like twisting and turning, but like it looked like video game CGI. Like,
it's so bad. And all throughout that, I'm laughing my ass off.
Yeah, you were fucking dying laughing. I'm just dumb.
It's so dumb. I loved it. It was so stupid. So I usually do like the best. I think it's a good and bad. I think we've pretty much covered it all, like good and bad points, because this is just an average movie.
That's the thing. There's nothing really stand out about it. Like if I told someone about it, I wouldn't say, "Oh, there was this sick scene where they did that." Like there's no like any other movie I love. There's like, "Oh, I love this scene," but there was no really scene where I was like, "Fuck yes."
I'm already finding bits of it of already sliding out of my brain.
Oh yeah, same. Like there's no like how you always have that one scene where you're like, wait until you see this, or like you can not stop thinking about that scene. There was nothing like that in that movie. Like,
or just thinking back to previous ones I've done this, like Knives Out and like Jojo Rabbit, like almost the entire movie is just like really memorable. It's got some really smart stuff. It's very cool. It's well done, very smart. I'm retaining all of that movie. I've watched them both now a couple of times, and it's still fantastic to me. I'm probably gonna watch this again.
It's just not clever.
At some point.
The thing is, they have a clever storyline, and that could have been done so well. It's just it wasn't executed properly.
Yeah.
Like, it is a very clever idea. It's just not done well.
This is a low budget. Well, in regards to Hollywood blockbusters, this is the low budget film. I think it budgeted about $47 million. I'm reckoning about $7 million of that went to Vin Diesel, and the rest of it went on to the special effects.
Yeah.
This is a movie where they went, we're just going to make that last, like, third of that movie the big special effects extravaganza. There's a few chase scenes, and also the editing in this movie is bad.
But they didn't need that sort of thing. Like, the end sort of gave me Wonder Woman vibes. Like, at the end where like Ares is fighting her.
Oh,
yeah.
Again, another bad CGI video game ending.
And the thing is, they do the supernatural thing where you're like, oh no, they're dead, but they're just brought back to life. So you're watching it, and you're just like, he's gonna be brought back. Like that's what it's like watching Supernatural. Like, your favorite character will die, and you're like, guarantee you, they'll be back.
Well, in the movie, like, okay, so right when he rescues. So Wiggins is held prisoner by one of the people that are getting killed. So Wiggins kind of organizes it, so he kind of gets escaped with the carnage from Bloodshot killing everyone. Yeah. And Bloodshot he basically slices up his hand, gives him a little vial of nanites, like that much.
Yeah, he's got a bit of blood.
And it's like, the whole conceit is use this to figure out what's going on, and
that's how they bring him back in the end, is because of his little bit of nanites that he has.
It's never stated in the movie itself, but you're like, how are they going to bring him back? And I was like, oh yeah, vial of nanites.
But the thing is he gets brought back twice by that guy. So all up, because they pretty much have to kill him.
He does a lot in this movie.
Well, that's the thing. The amount, I'm pretty sure he dies like 4 fucking times or something like that. So the original time he dies so that they can program it and everything like that. Yeah. Then he dies again when he kills the dude and he's brought back to life by a jump starter thingy. Then the last time,
the Call of Duty section at the beginning of the movie. Like, how every one guy can storm in a terrorist stronghold.
The start of that, because there was
did you notice in the movie, the first one, he actually looks like he gets, even though he doesn't get shot, he like gets shot in the hip or something. But then when there's the sexy scene, the bandage is on his back.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's like, why isn't there a bandage around his belly? Because that's where he gets like shot, even though it was a bit of a flesh wound. But
cool guys don't bleed.
Yeah, cool guys don't look at explosions.
This is a bit of a 90s film that's got.
Oh shit! Yeah, if this came out in the 80s or 90s, it would have been fucking massive.
The CGI would have been atrocious still, but it would have been like 90s atrocious.
But it would have been right for that decade. That's yeah.
I must admit, I do like the idea of some of the resurgence of like.
And they probably would have casted Lucy Liu as.
Oh god! Hang on, no, what year was Vin Diesel discovered? Because he got discovered in like Band of Brothers, which was about mid-90s.
Yeah, well, I know that Triple X was 99. I'm pretty sure, like around early 2000s sort of thing.
Yeah, so he didn't become like an action hero until pretty much like the late
90s ish. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've never seen the Triple X movies. It wasn't really something that I think I've seen about 10 minutes.
We need to watch it because the first one. The other one's like.
I think I tried to watch about 10 minutes of it, and I was just like, nah, not interested. And then, but I've heard that because the sequel was Ice Cube, The Next Level, and then there's The Return of Xander Kane, which is the third one. But
which they released like sort of a few years ago.
Yeah, about 5-6 years ago. And I heard that.
Fuck! Wait, 5-6 years.
Hang on.
It was only like.
No, about 2000. No. 2016, I think it was. So it's almost 5 years ago.
I'm having like a.
Is it 2016 or 2017? Either way, it was a few years ago, and I heard it's absolutely trash.
Oh yeah, no. The first one is. I like it.
Well, not even good trash.
Like. Yeah, no. The first one I like. But again, it's also typical Vin Diesel sort of action movie where there's like a thin plot and just any excuse to see Vin Diesel shirtless. Like, It was just very typical action movie. Like yeah, the one woman that's in it is definitely a sexual sort of thing. Like,
well, that's the one kudos we've got to give to this is that KT, just even though she's the object of desire throughout most of this film, she is very coded sexy. They don't hook up at the end of the movie.
Yes, no. I was like, if they kiss at the end of this, I will like punch myself in the face. But there's tension, but they never do that. Like, I'll be back and like the kiss and everything.
But part of that tension was baked into the storyline that she's like, even though it really makes no sense, but she does this thing where she gives him alcohol. You know, she's like the friend, and she gives him alcohol, and that's when he hears the song which triggers him.
Yeah, she has to pretend to be his mate so that he'll let his guard down.
The sequence of events will trigger,
so the program can go on.
But she's also the one that has to reset his room and has to do this, and she has the token.
Well, she has to do a lot of it. Like everyone else is more like, oh, if he goes rogue, go get him, and we'll do all the computery stuff. She more has to do the heart things.
She's the handler.
Yeah, she has to do the things that would get you close to someone, sort of thing. Like, being his buddy and shit like that, which, of course. Once again, I would love, like, I just love the idea of swapping the gender roles in it. Like, could you imagine if every single guy was played by a girl and the two girl characters were played by men? Like,
they've kind of tried to do that a few times, but it's always...
Ghostbusters. Simon as like the biggest Ghostbuster fan there is.
Oh, I'm not the biggest, but I just thought that was just a badly made movie. It had nothing to do with the women. It's just thought the script was bad. We're not going on that tangent. We're not going on that tangent.
We will have a day.
This might be edited out.
We will have a day where we will talk about.
We will do that. Well, 2016
Ghostbusters, was it 17?
2016. I can't believe it's been 5 years already. Almost 5 years already. God, remember when 2016 was the shit year? I mean, like, nothing going right happened in 2016, and as 2020, it's 3 months in, and the world is dead. It's over. Just restart with society.
Yeah, that's the thing. Simon was like, oh, if you don't want to come out today, because of the virus scare and stuff like that, I'm all good. And I'm like, virus ain't gonna stop me watching shitty Vin Diesel movies with my buddy.
It's always good to give you an out, though. It's just the fact of like, I'm the one that suggested this.
No, I wanted to go out today, and I'm glad that this is the movie we watched. It was.
I would have been disappointed if this was like more boring. Like, this was like so. It's not a good film. It's not a bad film. It's average, but it's good.
Definitely just a typical sort of action. Like, it's just. Typical.
I think it's just my kind of trash.
Yeah.
Everyone has that good kind of trash, and this hit those beats.
Some god tier shit. No, I love the part where Vin Diesel throws the arm through the car. So there's so there's this one guy, and they give him like big arm prosthetics, and they like stretch out, and it just reminds me of the scene from Nightmare on Elm Street where Freddy comes down the thingy,
the corridor, and screeches. I think that's a shot match as well.
Yeah, and they
because it even close up to the wall where it's screeching along. Yeah. I'm fairly certain that's a shot match.
Oh, 100%, yeah. And so there's a scene where Vin Diesel like rips it off the thingy, and then he just yeets it through the car, and like they focus it on when it's moving and everything.
They've done that in Terminator films.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole reprogram.
They did that. I'm fairly certain they did that in
thing is Terminator though.
Yes, no, but I'm fairly certain they did that I know they did in Dark Fate. I think they did it in Terminator Genesis.
It's just so many movies that like you're watching it and you're just like, so many.
I might actually buy this on Blu-ray.
Do it. Katie also reminds me of Sharon Carter, like where that's her character. Is her only character is supporting the male lead.
The supporting badass.
Like, yeah, exactly. And like Sharon's only thing in both Captain America movies is like looking after Cap.
Yeah.
That was her whole entire thing. The same with KT. Her whole thing is looking after Vin Diesel.
You find it weird that if because except for the first Captain America movie, which was directed by Joe Johnston, the Russo brothers essentially plotted Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. So they plotted Cap's arc throughout 4 movies, and it starts that he's going, we're doing like Sharon Carter, and then sort of like, Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
So
Sebastian Stan was actually so fucking pissed off that that's how they ended it. Like the guy that played Bucky, he's just like,
I think narratively speaking, it works.
I like it personally. I think it needed to happen because it was always that Sam becomes Captain America. Like, it's how it's...
Well...
Because that's how it goes in the comics.
Yeah, except that Steve's back, but that's just comics. Comics always get reset.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's why it pissed me off when people were like, well, that's not how it was in the comics. And it's like, cool beans.
Okay, controversial. The movie Civil War is way better than the comic book Civil War because the comic book Civil War was fucking shit. Controversial, but it was terrible. Even though it did result in the death of Captain America, but that was plotted through Ed Brubaker's comic book run anyway. That was, and of course he comes back. Superman. Well, Superman also died and got better, and same with Captain America.
Yeah, and it was the whole you know what's funny is like people like there's so much subtext between Steve and Bucky, and everyone's like, no, there's not, no. But the thing is, Bucky's brought back from brainwashing the same way Clark Kent was. It's because the love of his life came up to him and like was
in Justice League movie,
yeah, like that's how he came back. Is because Lois Lane was like, babe, and that's pretty much the exact same way Bucky came back.
That's just a cheap dramatic conceit in all the like in the comic books they usually send it out, but in the movies they have to get that in 5 seconds.
Cass comes back from being brainwashed in Supernatural, so it's like,
that's just dramatic conceits for time. It's a well-used trope, and if it works, it works.
But if you use that trope with 2 male characters who aren't related, and
they're totally not gay.
They're
totally not gay.
Very not gay.
They have a severe case of not gays.
Yeah. No, I think Bucky and Steve are iconic for being not gay.
Yeah. Well, in regards to, I think in the movies with Steve and Bucky, it makes... so we're talking about a completely different comic book movie.
But this is how I knew this would happen. This is what I want.
I think in regards to the movies, it makes sense that, like, for regards to Steve, Bucky is the only connection he has to his past, his previous life. So it makes sense that they really want to heavily emphasize that. And to a certain degree, his relationship with Sam is his relationship with the modern day.
Yeah, so, and that's why I think it's perfect for those two to be such good friends with Steve. Yeah, is because his relationship with Bucky ties him to his old life, but then his relationship with Sam sort of brings him into the present. And like there's, I think when he's with Bucky, he remembers, I was this small asthmatic kid, and it sort of grounds him almost.
Bucky is also the connection to Steve Rogers' greatest failure, not being able to save Bucky. Yeah.
So it's almost like having him around, but also it would be the same with Sam though. Having Steve as a friend probably reminded him of Rudy, the guy who he couldn't save. What was his name?
Yeah.
But his best buddy, like having another best buddy around while he's fighting probably reminds him of him. Like I think it's just that trio of friends is just trauma central. They both are they're all filled with trauma, but at the same time they're helping their trauma.
I think this is why I'm a bit salty of the whole Sharon Carter thing, because that one scene in Civil War with Bucky and Falcon in the car.
Yeah, can you just see it up? No.
And then when Steve finally hooks up with Sharon Carter for that 5 seconds, and they're both like, yep.
The thing is,
that's my boy.
You can see the look on Bucky's face. Bucky's face is almost like, should have been me, bitch.
Yeah. Hey, they could bring her back. They're talking about bringing Sharon Carter into.
I don't want Sharon Carter back. She was badly written, so don't.
No. They're bringing her. I think that she's going to be brought into Bucky and Winter Soldier and the Falcon.
Yeah, which I'm very fucking... That doesn't come out till next year, though.
Next year.
I'm very excited for that.
I think the only one that comes out this year, Marvel-wise, is... Well,
we got Loki, WandaVision, and Winter Soldier, Falcon.
I think WandaVision might be the one that comes out this year.
I'm very excited for Loki, too, because they get into, like...
I think Loki might be the last one that comes out.
Well, they get into, like, time prison and stuff like that. And I'm just hoping for Lady Loki. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Look, it's all I want in my life ever.
Okay, so we got
So we've been talking for a little while. This is fine.
I can just edit all this out. The funny thing is, I do a lot of editing.
Or you should just keep the parts in where we talk about the movie, and then be like
extra bonus footage.
Extra, yeah, just us talking fuckery about. Well, you know how they do those things where it's they'll do 3 topics, because the conversation.
No, I'm happy to keep this all in. And maximum file size reached. Oops. Oh, well, whatever. No, I was going to say I'm happy to keep this going. I don't mind. It's funny thing is I do a lot more editing because I'm thinking.
Yeah, at the moment it's just us fucking rambling.
Half of my video that I cut out is using or annoying things like. So I'm probably editing all this after the moment. Don't worry, I give myself editing notes all the time. Yeah. So shall we actually rate this sucker? So I'm happy.
It's definitely a 5 out of 10. I think.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's a solid 5.
It's not it's a typical action movie. It's nothing standoutish about it, and there's definitely tropes from literally every genre that ever fucking was. The amount of movies that we were like, oh, that's like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not one where you have a bad time watching it. Watching it, I was entertained. It's just not standoutish. It's just very gonna fade into the background of movie history.
Yeah, it might be one of those movies you have to watch again and go, oh yeah, I remember this movie.
Or in another 10 years, someone will be like, do you remember this movie? And you're like, oh shit, yeah.
This might be one to riff on. Yeah, this might be a good bad movie, movie.
Yeah.
My other thing, my thing's always with bad movies is that you should always pick a bad movie that you like. It shouldn't be a bad movie you hate.
That's the thing. Watching it, I wasn't like, oh fuck, can this just end? Watching it, I was I actually want to see where this goes. I wasn't in love with it, but I was like,
I was entertained.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Say whatever. I was entertained.
Yeah. It's entertaining, but it's not one you fall in love with, sort of thing.
No.
But it's one if I was doing something and needed a movie for background noise, I'd probably put it on, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's one that once you watch it once, you can it's one you put on when you're doing work, sort of thing.
You might have to watch it. You might have to watch it again with headphones so you can hear what the hell Vin Diesel says half the time, because he's just mumbling his way through it.
He gargles gravel before going onto the screen.
There's a plot in there somewhere. I don't know what it is. I think all the plot was given out by Guy Pearce, so that helped.
Well, so there's 2 Marvel characters in it, because Vin Diesel plays Groot.
Yeah, Vin Diesel plays Groot, and Guy Pearce plays, I can't remember the character's goddamn name, but he's the
bad dude from Iron Man.
Bad dude from Iron Man 3. He's the guy that does the whole extremist thing. I'm kicking myself because he is a villain in the comic books, and I was never a huge Iron Man comic book guy.
I've never seen any of the movies because
you just know that Black Widow's in one of them.
Yeah, because just how and no woman in the history of the world could fight with hair like that and have it stay that fucking perfect. That's why that's the one part of Captain Marvel that I really loved was the train fighting scene, and her hair's skew whiff, because it's what fucking happens when you fight people is even just doing a boxing class or something like that, your hair is fucked. Also, I love another reason to love Valkyrie is because her hair's all nice braided back, and if you're gonna be kicking ass, you need hair that's either really short or pulled right the fuck back. No.
Yeah.
Fuck every female character who fights with their hair down. It's no bitch.
Yeah,
or they fight with their hair down and they wear lip gloss.
It's almost like those are movies directed by men.
Whoa, really?
I know.
Comparing, I was looking back at photos of Suicide Squad Harley, and I'm just it felt weird looking at her because
the little bangles like that, and
frame just face, but it just felt weird looking at her. I'm no, because
well, we could always go back and watch Birds of Prey.
And the thing is, looking back at her, it's just a definite blue tone every time she's on screen. It's they've put a blue filter every time she's on screen. But then Birds of Prey is yay!
Well, the problem with Suicide Squad is that there was a lot of filters in there. It was shot. It looks cinematically, it was shot to be a dark, broody movie, and then they went, we're going to put color filters on it.
Yeah, it looks like I could have edited that in iMovie myself. That is straight out of iMovie. I'm going to do that one day. Once I get my Harley Quinn cosplay together, I'm just going to do that, and I'll add a blue filter from iMovie just to show that I can recreate it just as well as they can in iMovie. I should do that. Just be like,
you gotta hear. You gotta hear. This is a promise. You know.
Maybe if people want to see it, just be like, this is how badly.
Well, I'm expecting you to share this link with everyone you know, because you're a lot more popular than I am.
Stop. No, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to screenshot all the dumb faces that I'm making in this video and be like, watch this. See, Danna makes dumb faces. Or just me like staring off into the distance.
I'm just going to get a phone call saying, yeah, can I get the raw footage? I'm going to screen cap the shit out of this.
Yeah, please? Thank you. No, it's going to be some great screen caps of my face. Just... But no, I will. There's at least so many. Like, I'll send you a photo when I get home of like when she's talking to Deadshot, and it's like, yeah, once I get Harley done, I'm gonna take a photo like that, put a blue filter over it, and it will look the exact same.
Yeah,
because that's all it is.
It's not a well-made film. Well, it's not a well-made film. It's just not a well cinematography.
No.
The post-processing on that film is.
I also refuse to get her jacket. That's the thing. When I get the cosplay together, I'm just not gonna buy the jacket.
You mean the property of Joker's
jacket?
jackets?
No, that's just.
With the big ass pudding necklace, and
I might get
it's
the pudding
almost like Harley's a prop in the entire movie.
Oh, you don't say! It's over-sexualized female character in a superhero movie. But even Katana has just nothing.
Yeah,
it's just like husband died, kill time now.
She was also one of those characters that if you'd have literally erased her from the entire movie, nothing would have happened.
Yeah. There would be no difference whatsoever.
Like half the people in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, now I'm thinking about if you removed Croc, would have been... I think the only ones that you have to keep are Diablo, Harley, and Deadshot.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you need Captain Boomerang, so when he throws the boomerang with the camera, which somehow seems to be straight stabilized, even though the thing below it is spinning. Yeah, because that happens.
And just, there's so much about that movie.
God.
Well, even Enchantress's outfit, you're like, yes, that's very goddess-esque, but it's definitely designed by a man. What we need is...
And it's slathered in CGI as well, so it's even worse. Like is it Cara
Delevingne?
Yeah, it's like her face has been smoothed to the point of, like, she has no facial features.
And they do... Yeah, no, I hate when they fucking do that. Just
scraggly witch costume looked better.
Oh yeah, that looked sick because it was all makeup. That's the thing. People are like, we need all the CGI, but it's like makeup is so fucking awesome, like compared to CGI. Like CGI can definitely help in a lot of things, and done right, it makes a movie very well. But
we'll have that conversation one day.
But no, I'm sorry, I will stand by makeup until the end of time.
I completely agree.
Like when it comes to things but even when it comes to things like different aliens or something that, you can't make up, when they fucking Jurassic Park,
it's astounding.
Like that was made.
Well, it's astounding how many creature features that have practical effects stand up better than the ones in the past.
Well, even Chestburster.
Yeah.
Like that was a puppet and that looked fucking phenomenal.
I still think back to, I know it's a bad movie regardless, but Alien vs Predator had practical, all the aliens were all CG and they just look bad.
Oh yeah, no they do.
Okay, it's also early 2000s CG and things have improved.
They were very experimental.
It was not good. It was just not good. And you think back to like how cool like the xenomorphs were in.
And that's why movies that were in the 70s and 80s are really good, because there wasn't really any computerized SFX stuff yet. Every single part of those movies was all makeup, all puppets or whatever, and that's why they were so good.
There was computer graphics in those periods, even as far back as like the 70s and 80s, but they weren't at that point where they could be used.
Yeah, some of them could be used, like lightsabers and stuff like that, but...
Actually, I'm trying to remember. Do you know what the first movie to use CGI effects as its own standalone special effect? I believe this is true. No, it's more recent than you think. The Last Action Hero by Arnold Schwarzenegger. He has this scene where Arnold Schwarzenegger is Macbeth, I believe, fighting a glass CGI thing. Because there was there was the T-1000, but I think there was a lot of reskinning and stuff like that. It wasn't actually a model like they made. There was one movie from fucking ages, South Pacific, and there's a scene in that. I watched it with my nan,
and it's from like the 50s or something like that. And there's a scene in
I
that.
can guarantee
where, like,
you that wasn't
she's-
CGI.
No. Just listen, because this is amazing. There's
Yep.
a scene in it where like this old lady's singing a song, and they pretty much put like a rainbow filter over it, so it's almost like someone's just sliding this, like the bubble from Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And Nan was like, when that came out, that was amazing. So.
Oh, one day I have to show you Citizen Kane, which was the movie that essentially started a lot of tropes, like the spinning newspaper trope and all those things. It was in but it also had a astounding a lot of visual effects, because it was also one of the first movies that would do like matte painting to make the things like bigger and like expand out. So instead of having like, so they only shot a small portion, and then they use a matte painting to bring it out, and they've been using that for literally up until the point where they could just do it digitally.
Yeah.
Like even up to the original Star Wars movies, they had matte painting in front of the camera and just in the background. So like things like that.
Yeah.
And those techniques date back all the way to the 30s.
Yeah. People just, a lot of the time with movies, if you go back to the original way of doing it, it's usually a lot better.
It's the only problem is with a lot of the old techniques is they're restrictive in the way of like people want even in to bring it back to Bloodshot, like the opening scene, you've got this like satellite imagery and it scales all the way down and through the thing and that's like the modern day thing of we want to make it look big and expansive and that's a bit shit.
Yeah. Some of it isn't good at all. Oh, and you know what else gives me another movie reference vibe? Is the guy's long arms. That gives me very much Alien vibes of when Ripley's in the machine and she's killing the mama alien.
It's funny, I think a lot of even like the tech design was very derivative. It was very much like, modern day sci-fi, but like Mass Effect-y kind of stuff. So this entire thing is derivative. Yeah,
no, very much so.
And I think
was just expecting Deadpool to rock up at some point.
Yeah, I had Deadpool vibes, and this is like one of those things you go, this movie only exists because Deadpool was a thing. People, that's it. Deadpool was the first significantly successful R-rated film. I mean, there was been like things like Blade and stuff like that was successful enough.
What was this one rated? MA?
I have no idea. That requires me paying that much attention. I'm sure I can get the let's see.
Bloodshot is rated.
It's rated.
Okay, so
it's rated M. So
the thing is it's like 31 on Rotten Tomatoes and 5.7 on
this is
IMDb,
Australian.
but it's 87% liked by Google users.
Okay, so do we want to get into the difference between a critical score and a user and an audience score?
Yeah, so that's OG Bloodshot right there.
This could be the bonus content.
There he is. See,
so I told you, Mr. Sinister.
Or
Mr. Sinister vibes.
What's his dick? Metal dude.
Colossus?
Yeah. That's what it reminds me of.
Well, that was the cool thing. Colossus. We saw the New Mutants trailer. Even though I heard it got delayed again.
I'm so excited. New Mutants Beach.
Yeah.
It's got Arya Stark and Jonathan Byers in it.
I know one of those names, but I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones. So.
And then Jonathan's from Stranger Things.
God, it's been a while since I've seen Stranger Things. Who's seen Stranger Things?
The weird brother. Who was mates with Nancy, the photographer dude.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
The incel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in.
That sucked in season 2 when they hooked up. It's like,
please don't do this.
Please don't hook up with the incel.
Well, it's better that they hooked up than she hooked up with Billy though. Like.
Well, Billy is the clear 80s bully.
He is the summary of a fucking I'm watching it and I'm just like, am I watching Back to the Future?
Spoilers. I still haven't got around season 3 yet, but
he's god tier. Nice. He's pretty good. It's more mean.
But in season 2, it's just like, this is the character you just love to hate. Yeah, and then they give him his character moment. You're like going, you motherfuckers.
It's like, this is very much 80s. Like, got some racism in there, got a mullet, an abusive dad, rock and roll and tight jeans. Fuck, that's not the 80s.
Don't forget the most important part, skeevy mustache.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta have the skeevy mustache.
Yeah.
You know,
And his
the
car that
mustache
he loves more than anyone.
the mustache that no person should ever. If you wake up with that mustache, you
Shave
are morally obliged to shave that shit off.
Either that or just become the worst piece of shit in the world. You
Well,
have to also grow a mullet and
Yeah.
vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah, pretty much. That's like, you know, that's pretty much right.
Like if Billy was around today, he
I was
would
like,
have
if you're
voted.
genetically disposed to grow that mustache. Speaking of which, have you ever seen a movie called Joe Dirt?
Yes. Oh my god.
It's like, wait, it's like, he doesn't have a mullet. He has a wig that's grown into his scalp that looks like a mullet. And his facial hair.
Once.
I saw that in the cinemas.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
I got it on DVD. It's a great bad movie.
Another one to add to the list. Yes. We've been almost an hour.
I know. You've got to go to work, so thank you for joining me.
This is just, I really feel like you should just post the whole thing.
I'm probably going to post the whole thing. I don't think I can cut any of this without making...
just post it.
Because if I cut out a segment, nothing else is going to make any sense.
Yeah, no.
It's almost like this
is
movie.
Why we need to podcast. Also comment if we should start a podcast.
Yes.
Like pretty much this, and we just talk fuckery.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys can give us notes on what to talk about, but just like...
Okay, you could give us a note on what to talk about. We're going to wander.
Yeah, exactly. Like, tell us what to start off with, and then we'll probably, as per usual, our conversations will talk about Suicide Squad. Why is it? For some reason, that's like the one movie we always come back to.
I don't know, because it's usually Batman versus Superman or Man of Steel, the ones I hate more.
Yeah, Batman vs. No.
I think the good thing about
Suicide
Squad is that it is a objectively bad movie. You can't even go around and say, yeah, I like it. It's like, you know, it is. I know people who love it, but it's like, it is a bad
But
film.
it also has bred the generation of be the Harley to my Joker.
Oh.
And it's like, ugh.
No.
I saw this meme on, like, my friend shared it on Facebook, and it was like, Mum picked me up from this party. Some guy's saying that he wants me to be the Harley to his Joker.
Oh.
And it's like, we don't stand that.
I still haven't seen Joker with
that one's really
Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
No.
That's a really good one.
The main reason
it's not a superhero movie. It's
the main reason I haven't seen Joker is because I've seen Falling Down.
I don't know that one.
90s movie with Michael Douglas. You know, guy. Basically, the thing of like one guy goes, normal average guy goes off the deep end.
Like Taxi Driver.
Yeah. So. If you've not seen Taxi Driver or seen Joker or Falling Down, you might actually see Joker and go, wow, this is original. No, I've heard it's mostly just Joaquin Phoenix's performance just makes that movie worth watching. But, one day.
He had to lose like 30 kilo odd for that movie, apparently. He cried.
Yeah, just now you mention it, it's like I thought it was just age. But
the scene where he's like shirtless and like you can see
like
the outline of his ribs. Like.
No, I'm just thinking about his face and all that.
His face.
Because I'm thinking like my first
his
memory.
Face used to be a lot rounder.
Yeah, Gladiator.
Yeah.
Like, but I thought because that's like 20. That's a 20-year-old movie now.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's a 20-year-old movie. You know.
The 80s were 40 years ago.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me. That's my childhood you're talking about there. That literally me.
I wasn't even born.
Yeah.
This is why we're an iconic duo. We're like Lara and Logan.
Oh, I wish.
List some more people that we're like. Dean Winchester and Claire from Supernatural.
I've still not seen Supernatural.
It's fine.
This is going to be one of those things where like, have you seen this?
No.
I've seen
it.
But have you seen this? No.
That's the same with both of us. You asked me and I'm like...
Yeah, that thing from the 80s everyone loved, no.
Oh, fucking no.
I even dropped like RoboCop and you're like, no. At least you haven't seen the modern day remake.
I've never seen the RoboCops.
There's only one good RoboCop movie and one passably good RoboCop movie, and that's about it.
Is RoboCop what they're trying to parody in Community? Was that one
God,
movie?
I haven't been seen Community in a while.
It's that one movie that Abed loves, and it's like
like Kick Puncher.
Yeah, Kick Puncher or whatever. And
his punches at the parrot.
Yeah. Is that parodying?
That's just parodying like the
So
entire 80s genre of action films.
Yeah.
Very much like especially like the choppy socky kind of.
Yeah.
You know, white guy that's got martial arts kind of trope.
Yeah.
Which was a thing that happened a lot. Anyway,
It's because people of color were getting too popular. They're like, white people can do martial arts too.
Oh no, it was totally a cashing in on the blaxploitation and martial arts genres, which were getting huge in the underground at the time.
Bruce Lee and shit like that. They were like, wait, no, white guys can do that. What the fuck?
One movie I gotta have to make you sit down and watch is The Last Dragon.
I think I've seen it.
You've seen The Last Dragon?
Maybe.
It's it'd be weird if you did, because it's a very obscure one.
No, because I remember one. What's the storyline? Because I did watch one, and I'm pretty sure it's something like that.
Last Dragon is about this guy called Leroy Brown, who's a huge fan of Bruce Lee, who's been training martial arts for his entire life, and his sensei is like, no, he's finally mastered everything, but he's trying to find his next master, and he falls in love. Okay,
no, wrong one. No, I'm thinking.
I'm probably explaining it badly, but it's.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of a different one.
It stars a black actor. It's a martial arts film. It's comedy and it's musical. It was produced by a guy named Barry. Oh God, Barry Gordy.
What a fucking name.
He was the guy. He was essentially Motown. So Motown Records, Motown, the musical genre.
Yeah.
Barry Gordy ran Motown. He was Motown. In the early 80s, he produced a movie to basically cash in on the blaxploitation craze, and
but that's been going on since forever.
But it was a movie that was.
But sorry.
Oh yeah, well, a lot can be said about the white man's misappropriation of black music for generations. But this was basically a movie where it was predominantly made by black people.
Yeah.
And it was made with a lot of love for this genre, and it's got a very racially diverse.
Oh, good.
Very racially diverse cast. It has one of the greatest just cheeseball villains you'll ever see in your life, and it's got some pretty bad martial arts. Oh yeah, and the main white guy's the villain, so
good.
It's amazing.
It's what should be. The white man is the villain.
Yeah. If you don't, it's one of those movies that if you don't take it seriously, you'll have a great time. And on that bombshell,
that is the summary.
I've been trying to close this out for about 15 minutes. But
that's the summary of Bloodshot too. Is if you don't take it too seriously, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah,
100%. The tagline of that movie should be: if you don't take it too seriously, you'll enjoy it.
No, the tagline should be just switch off your brain. Just like Vin Diesel does.
Should be like, have you ever seen every single movie in Hollywood ever? Then you'll enjoy Bloodshot.
No, if you haven't seen every single movie in Hollywood ever, you get it in one shot.
No, this is
one Bloodshot.
This is the movie you show someone who's been like frozen for 200 years, and they're like, "Fuck, we got to catch him up on Hollywood."
This is the movie you give to Steve Rogers after he gets
awoken.
Like... This is the 80s.
Yeah, it's like, Steve, welcome to the 80s. That's just the movie you give.
This is Steve. This is the 90s, and this is just. Don't worry, it only takes 90 minutes.
Well, and the thing is, they were one dramatic kiss away from being literally every movie ever.
Yeah.
Because if they had one dramatic kiss, that covers like every movie's from the 20s to the 70s.
Yeah.
So close. But yeah, it is every.
That's all right. When Bloodshot 2 never comes up, it'll just be the fan fiction from Danna here with about KT and Wigan.
I can't watch a movie without shipping someone. It's like my curse. Any movie, I would probably ship someone in it.
Hey, let's be honest. Most of those movies themselves always have a shipping element.
Yeah.
They always. That's why the love interest is a trope.
Well, yeah, it's like Men in Black, where Will Smith had that thing for the coroner chick, but nothing really happened with it.
Yeah, I think that's because, I've heard that Linda Fiorentino has always been like very much a horror to work with, and I think by the time it came to Men in Black 2, they're just like, no, we just don't want to work with her anymore. Off. But also, work, romantic relationships, do they ever work?
Amy and Jake.
Okay, yeah. But that's also, So I'm just thinking...
It's an outlier.
Yeah. And also I'm just thinking, there's a lot about Brooklyn Nine-Nine which shouldn't work, and does.
It does. But it's brilliant.
Yeah.
How Charles can, get into that many relationships and I'm still single is just snaps to Charles Boyle.
No, it's one of those things with Charles, it's always about to, like, how is this guy still a police officer? But then it's like...
No, that's Scully and Hitchcock.
No, but then when he finally does prove it, it's like, okay.
Fair.
And then, yeah, well, Scully and Hitchcock's like almost grandfathered in.
Yeah, but it's like you can't fire them because they've been there so long. It's like the dude from Shawshank Redemption. He's just been there so long that they shouldn't have let him out.
Well, you got to remember that... Okay, now we're going to get into 15 minutes worth of...
So, summary. Bloodshot, very average. 5 out of 10. If you've seen any movie in Hollywood, you've seen this movie. Vin Diesel's shirtless in a few scenes.
If you're into that.
And there's a lot of side boob and a lot of cleavage, so... watch it if you're down. It's not one to, like, recommend and you definitely have to watch, but it's sort of one that, like, if there's nothing else on, then sure, why not watch it?
I'm just going to close out by saying thank you very much for joining me on this.
It's now been an hour and 5 minutes, so I hope everyone who watches this, like...
Yeah, it'll be even funny when I cut out that 20-minute bit in the middle and be like, okay, how's this an hour and 45 minutes? It says it below. No, thank you.
But no, we should do a podcast.
Yeah.
If we should do a podcast...
Yeah, tell your friends if you want us to do a podcast.
Please.
Again, thank you, Danna. Go check out Danna at Rogue May Cosplay, at our future podcast whenever we figure it out. We'll probably record one soon.
And also, someone make fan art of me as X-23 and Simon as Wolverine.
Oh, God. I guess I got the beard for it.
Just any storyline where there's, like, a young girl and an older guy having to travel together. Sort of, like, trope.
So I'm just going to... So basically it's like Logan and True Grit.
Yep, that's our tropes. Thank you for inviting me, Simon. It's been a time.
It's legitimately been my pleasure. I'll see ya.